Okay, hello everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers Academy. I am so glad that you are all here. So let me get my slides pulled up and make sure I got the right one. Yes, this is it. So we're glad that you're here. We're going to go over session 2. We covered a lot of stuff in session 1. So I am going to give everybody like maybe another 1 minute to get in here, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Nicole Whitlock. I'm with eCom Sellers Academy, and today we are going to talk about e-commerce planning for 2021. There's a lot to cover, and I hope this information is a blessing to you. I kind of had to consolidate it, so I probably removed about 9 slides. I apologize, but I'm going to try and give you as much value as possible. So here we go. So in session 1, we really talked about reset and the mindset, everyone's mindset. 2020 was a tough year to tackle. And 2021 is starting off to be a little interesting, but we are praying people. So we remain steadfast that it's going to continue to progressively get better. But right now it's a little interesting. The thing you need to know about the mindset, the biggest piece of that is that you have to allow yourself a lot of grace and mercy. You have to allow yourself to be able to adjust to what is happening. A lot of stuff happened in 2021 and 2020, and we weren't ready for it. We weren't prepared for it. Experienced sellers, new sellers, just there was a lot that was happening. So your mindset, if you get a chance, go back and watch session 1. You have to allow yourself some grace and mercy. Make sure you focus in and hone in on in that session the traits and characteristics of an entrepreneur, so that way, as sometimes stumble forward, fail forward, or progress up, climbing the mountain, that you just keep all of those character traits in mind and continue to focus on what your goal is long term and shift your thinking in everything that you do. So today we're going to talk about refocus and re-energize your business. I'm going to give you some tips and strategies to help you to refocus in your business and to get organized. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about some ways that you can re-energize your business or some things you could be doing in your business. Like I said, I removed about 9 slides in that section, so I apologize in advance. But I hope this information is valuable to you. So let's go ahead and get started. So mindset is one of the biggest things in your business. There is your success is a significant amount of it is based off of your ability to overcome and persevere through a lot of different things that are happening. Again, 2020 was an example of that. So the biggest thing that I want you to do is I want you to embrace your entrepreneurial journey. Just embrace it. You are the boss of your business. You own the business, you run the business, you make all the decisions. And so for a significant number of us, we are the accountant. We are the shipper, we are the lister, we are the everything. And there are people that are doing e-commerce on a much larger scale. They've got a lot of staff. Like during Q4, I typically bring in staff so that I can, that's another opportunity for me to scale my business. But for the most part, I'm running my business. I won't say 100% of the time by myself, but I have kids in my family, and different people help me with my business. But I make all the decisions. I decide which inventory I'm buying. I decide how many hours I'm going to work. I decide all of that. And when things happen in my business, I extend myself some grace so that I can get back up on the horse and be prepared to move along, because it is challenging being an entrepreneur and doing this on this journey by yourself. So one of the things that, like I said, we're going to talk about getting refocused, getting focused. So there's 2 different sides to this. There's the reality and there's the dream. So in your mind, you might be thinking, hey, I got all this stuff mastered. I'm doing really good at it. And in reality, you may not be doing so hot. So if you're not, I want you can take a screenshot of all this. You can get the recording and go back and watch it. But you need to answer some of these questions for yourself and your business. So in the first session, we talked about your why and why are you doing what you're doing. And who do you want to be, do, or have in your business in session one? In session two, we got a boatload of questions, a lot of questions. So, how aware are you in your business? Like, do you know how much money you're making? Do you know how profitable you are? Do you know which products are really selling, which ones aren't? You know, those are some things that you really need to know. But before we get too far into that, if you stumbled in 2020, and a lot of us had to adjust, some people pivoted very quickly and some people didn't. But if you didn't pivot very quickly, what was stopping you? What was in your way? What distracted you? We were all distracted by, I don't know, the news, people that we know dying, just a lot of stuff. And this year, how are you going to potentially overcome the challenges that you encountered in 2020? How are you going to remove some of the distractions or manage or mitigate some of the distractions? Because there's potentially going to be distractions in 2021. There's going to be distractions. What's getting in your way? Are you still struggling? I'm just going to be honest. Like, my kids are still at home. My kids have been at home this whole time. We are talking about from March to March. It feels like they have been on an extended, what do we want to call it? Extended spring break, because they went out for spring break and never went back. So, trying to figure out how to run this business and my kids being at home 24/7. That was my struggle. And it took me a few months to try and get somewhat of my footing and get back up on that horse and get them going in such a way that I could actually be productive and get some things done. So, if your kids are still a challenge for you, then, what are your strategies? What are you thinking about that you want to do? You need to start thinking about that, because your goal, your vision for 2021, hopefully, is to, either double your sales, triple your sales, and to get where you want to be financially. People are still buying like crazy. This past weekend was ridiculous in sales. It was just crazy. And it's going to continue to be crazy for at least the next 2 to 3 months. So this is another opportunity to not only have another Q4, have a Q1 that's like Q4, if you get focused, if you get organized, if you get structured, if you get on the horse and do your best to redirect your mind every time you get distracted and fall off the horse. So how many hours a week are you committing to your business? Is this somewhat a random thing that you're doing? Or are you really in the trenches and focused and saying, okay, today I'm going to make sure I work no less than 5 hours or 6 hours in my business? Doing income producing activities, hopefully. But how many hours are you committing to your business? If you have not thought about that, think about it and be realistic. I'm not trying to have you long-term build a schedule that's going to be super rigid and you have no flexibility in it. Build something that incorporates whatever's happening in your life. If you got kids, incorporate time that you have to commit with your family and your kids. If you do different things and commit, write down those times, the amount of time that you think you spend doing some things. Are there things that you could streamline? I mean, Kelly, we just had eCom Mondays yesterday. Kelly mentioned that she does the whole, instead of going to the grocery store, she orders and does the pickup, which is what a lot of people do. They do the pickup. Is it easier for you to do pickup or have meals delivered? There's a lot of services that are out there so that you don't have to cook. Are you spending a lot of time doing that? And you could be investing that time in your business. So think about some of the things that you could do to make your life potentially a little bit easier so you can invest time in your business. And when's your most productive time of the day? So for different people, their most productive time of the day is different. So sometimes it's after you get the kids down. Sometimes if you have kids, some people don't have kids. Sometimes it's early in the morning when nobody can bother you. Like, okay, get up at 5 o'clock so I can focus on these things and get these things done. So figure out what your most productive time of the day is. And then when you determine, like, pay attention to what's happening, what you do. And when you are flailing, having a hard time focusing, having a hard time like staying on track, versus when you're sharp as a tack, you're paying attention to everything. When is that? Figure out that time of the day and then begin the process of building a productivity schedule around your most productive time of the day. Your productivity could go from whatever it is right now, and you could like 4x it or 5x it just because you shifted and started actually working in your best, most optimized productivity time of the day. So think about that. Really pay attention, increase your awareness around you and what you do. and when you start to stumble. If you're trying to do listings at 9 o'clock at night and you find yourself binge watching a bunch of stuff and doing some other things and getting laundry started and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of an hour, you've only got one thing listed. Clearly, that's not your most productive time of the day. So figure that out. Pay attention. Like spend about a week or so just kind of writing down what you do so you can figure out when's your most productive time of the day. So how many hours are you planning to work in your business daily and weekly? Figure that out. And those need to be, like I said before, income producing activities. What's your budget? So there are some people that they don't have a budget. They're just random. And I don't really have a budget, so I don't have a goal of how much I'm going to spend, because part of this business is investing in inventory. Doesn't matter if you're investing in inventory from a thrift store or if you're investing in inventory from a wholesale supplier. You're still investing in inventory, spending money on inventory. If you're doing drop shipping, then of course when people buy things, then that's when you make your money. So again, going back to how many items are you going, what is your goal? What is your goal that you're going to spend every single week or every single day in your business to get to your target numbers? I always sort of reverse engineer my numbers so that if I'm trying to get to $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month in profit, whatever your number is, how much in profit do I need to make each week? And how much do I need to make each day? Figure that out. Sit down and look at your numbers. If you haven't been paying attention to your numbers and they've been random, then make 2021 commit to your business and actually get focused so that you can figure out what your numbers are. And you can stay on top of your numbers every single week. So what are your sales and what are your profit goals? Do you have any? Again, going back to, doesn't matter the platform. If you're doing drop shipping, if you're doing print on demand, if you are selling on Etsy, like if you're selling on Etsy, whatever it is you happen to be selling, where you're selling printables, you're selling print on demand, whether you're selling physical products, like what is your goal every single week? How much are you wanting to sell? How many SKUs you wanting to sell? 10 SKUs a day, 50 SKUs a day, whatever. What's your profit margins? Are you a person that sells items that have not necessarily a low profit margin, but small numbers, and you do mass volume, versus selling items that have big profit margins and you only sell a few a week? So if you're selling something like, I don't know, gazebos, because I have to think about Norman. If you're selling something like that, then you might be, your profit margin, you might have like a $2,000 profit margin every single time you sell one. So is your goal to sell 3 or 4 a week? Or what's your goal? So figure that out. Figure out your numbers. You should know your numbers. You need to sit down and really kind of stew in your numbers. And if you've never done that before, start with the basics. How much inventory do you have? What did you pay for all of the inventory? What are you listing it for? So you can start the process. You can do that in Google Sheets. If you don't have any other software that you can kind of do some reconciliation, then you can do it in Google Sheets if you don't have the money right now to invest in software. And then later on, you can invest in some software. But you really need to actually, kind of analyze what's happening in your business. And then how many new listings are you putting up each day and each week? Like, do you have a time block in which you actually schedule time to list products, or are you not doing that? You really should have a dedicated time in which you list. And if you have a VA doing some work for you, just kind of schedule some time to evaluate either what the VA is doing for you or has done for you. And what software, if you're using software to kind of audit what's happening, or if you're manually doing it, figure that out. But you should have some dedicated time to do those things. So what are your goals as far as how many hours in a week you're going to work, hours in a day, what your budget is, what your sales for each platform? Sorry, I don't know what's happening now. For some reason, I have a tickle in my throat. But figure that out. So if you're doing multi-channel, you're selling on multiple platforms. You're selling on Amazon, Walmart, Etsy, Shopify, whatever, eBay, wherever you're selling. Like, what's your goals for each one of the platforms? Have you established that? Do you have a mission? Are you going to spend some time like focusing on one platform before you start to focus on another platform? So one of the strategies that I teach in eCom Sellers Academy and also in eCom Sellers Mastery is that you should spend at least 3 months on whatever platform that you're planning to selling on and be consistent. And I mean really consistent. If you're just working an hour a day on that platform, there's no way that you're going to get the chance to learn what you need to learn about that platform 1 hour a day. It's just not going to happen. But if you stay in the business, you stew in the business, you work in the business, you toil in the business, you really are working in your business, whether it is, 3 hours a day, 5 hours a day, whatever, every single day, 6 days a week instead of 5. And you do that for 30 days, then you do it for 60 days, and you do it for 90 days. You will know what reports you need to run. You will know where to find things. You will know how to fix listings. You will know how to get variations listed. You will know a lot about that platform if you're really working in that platform for 90 days. And then at the end of that 90 days, then you can choose to outsource aspects of what you were doing to a VA and then take on another platform for another 90 days. So then that way at the end of 6 months, you've got 2 platforms up and running for you. And you're profitable on both, or you're paying attention and monitoring what you're doing on both. But what's your strategy? So make sure that you break it down by platform. So what selling platforms do you want to add in 2021? So if you're already selling on one platform, have you thought about you want to add? Do you want to add another platform, or do you want to stay where you are? So I think, 2020, a lot of people were a little frustrated with Amazon. So there was a significant number of sellers that said, I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm gonna have to do something else, or I'm gonna have to add something else. So people were learning other platforms. They were learning how to do Walmart. They were learning how to do Facebook Marketplace. They were learning how to do Etsy. They were learning how to go back to eBay, like whatever it was, because Amazon was giving people grief. So what is your plan for 2021? If Amazon continues to be interesting, where are you going to be making your money? Where do you want to learn? What do you want to do? When do you want to start incorporating that? Are you going to stay where you are for until maybe the end of March, and then maybe in April pick up another platform, or begin the process now? But you need to be thinking about that. So what is your e-commerce method? Are you doing drop shipping? Are you doing wholesale? Are you doing print on demand? What are you doing? Do you want to add another method in 2021? If you do, plan for it. Don't be random about it. Be intentional. That was one of the things we talked about in session 1. You have to be intentional if you plan on growing this business and doing something with this business. So don't be random. Be intentional. So if you're going to pick up another platform, figure out when you're going to do it. When is the best? And again, a lot of things, sometimes we don't have any control. We learned the hard way in March and April of last year. There was a whole bunch of stuff we didn't have any control over. Okay. We just couldn't do anything about it. But you can at least put a plan together so that when you get to a space and place where you can start to implement what it is you wanted to do, that you actually have a game plan for moving forward versus stumbling across something else. I think if nothing else, 2020 taught everyone that they better have a game plan. If you plan on doing this e-commerce thing, you better have a game plan. You better have a contingency plan. You better have a backup, or you better be prepared to pivot. Again, we were all stunned. We were caught off guard. Different people were like, oh, my inventory is stuck in Amazon. What am I going to do? Okay, people had to learn how to merchant fulfill. A lot of the time they hadn't done that. They just send stuff to Amazon and walk away, just get a check. Send stuff to Amazon and walk away and just get a check. And that was really cool. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people said, oh, I'm going to have to learn how to do merchant fulfill for my own inventory, because Amazon is not doing, they're not allowing anything else. Oh, and they're only allowing essential things. So what's going to happen if that ends up happening again this year? Are you prepared for that? Have you made adjustments to your strategy, your approach, or are you still sticking with it? So you need to be prepared for potentially the unexpected, and things get interesting sometimes with China, or maybe not. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen this year with China. I have no idea. So you need to be prepared for those things. What's your shipping strategy? So I think a lesson learned, a lot of people learn a lesson. USPS, they are backlogged to high heaven. So they are backlogged big time. So is it time for you to consider establishing an account with UPS or FedEx? You know, are you doing all the shipping yourself? Do you have a ship station account? Are you outsourcing to a prep center? Like, what is your strategy? If you want to reclaim your house, you know, your kids have been at home. And so, you know, I love some of the Zooms that I hear stories about where everything is perfect on the back end of the Zoom. But if you turn that camera around, it's a hot mess over there. That's my life. That's my life for real. So, dealing with shipping all the time, I don't have time for that. I had to pivot and say, okay, I was doing shipping, but now that my kids are home all the time, freaking frack, I could have them ship or I could be in front of their computer making sure that they're in class and I don't have time to ship. So do something different, outsource to a prep center. You have to make adjustments and you should consider some alternatives. So if you are going to transition to maybe incorporating more UPS and more FedEx into your life, that means you're probably going to have to make some adjustments to your prices for your products to account for that increase in shipping because it is higher for some things. What's your sourcing strategy for 2021? If you don't have one, create one. You should have one. Again, you're running a business. This is not like, okay, so if you bought a McDonald's franchise, they are going to ask you before they even allow you to have a franchise, they're going to ask you a boatload of questions. And then once you have the franchise, there's going to be a playbook of things you need to do for operations, daily operations. They have a list of suppliers in which you can buy from. They have a list of backup. Like I can remember during the COVID-19, a lot of some of the restaurants, they were like, they had to actually buy stuff from the grocery store. So, because they couldn't get stuff from their suppliers. So again, there's a whole playbook. You should have a playbook for your business. If this business is for you, which was in session 1, you have to make that decision. If it is for you, then you need to have a playbook for it. You need to make some decisions. So are you paying attention to store closings in 2021? We are. Are you paying attention to liquidation that's floating out there and who the liquidators are? We are. So make a list of those and make sure that you've created a process to periodically either reach out to them, touch base, do some research, go to their websites, whatever it happens to be, so you can take advantage of sourcing stuff at a discounted price and also clearance. So we just came off of the back end of Christmas and New Year's. There's a bunch of New Year's and a bunch of Christmas stuff that's on clearance. A bunch of it went on clearance like on the 25th and the 26th, but there's a lot. So this is inventory. Christmas is going to come around again next year. It is. Take advantage of, if you're a person that sells, and I sell bundles, so I always take advantage of Christmas clearance because I sell bundles. So what's your strategy? Make a list so you can stay on top of that and don't overlook the liquidators. And then what tools do you plan on incorporating in your business? So if you're planning on, you know, buying some tools, and this is what I'll say about tools. Tools are fantastic, but sometimes when everybody's using the same tools, we all get the same results. So keep that in mind if you decide you're going to buy some sourcing tools. There's some great sourcing tools out there, and there's a lot of people using all the same sourcing tools. And remember, there's like a bunch of people that lost their jobs. And so they are potentially in the e-commerce game now or learning it from YouTube. And if they are, again, if they're sourcing from the same tools that you're sourcing from, then you're going to have listings where you have a bunch of sellers on the same listing. So I like to learn how to source organically and do research organically without tools. But if you're going to use tools, whether you're using repricers, whether you're using listing tools, whether you're using sourcing tools, whether you're using tracking and inventory tools, whether you're using multi-channel listing, whatever it happens to be, you know, you need to make sure you're into profit before you start signing up for those tools, period. Otherwise, it will be another story of, well, that e-commerce does not work. It doesn't work. And that's not true. It does work. Those people who say it doesn't work, it's kind of like people say, well, I tried that diet, but it doesn't work. Or I tried to exercise, but it doesn't work. No, it does. You just have to persevere and stick with it, be consistent, and it works. There's things that you have to do. Maybe you have to adjust it for what's happening in your life for it to work for you. But there's way too many people out here that are making money that know that it works. So again, make sure you're into profit before you start incorporating tools into your business. We do not want you to be going broke be negative on the other side. So if you're reconciling every single week, you know whether or not you're spending too much money. So time management and your schedule. So we talked about all of those things. These are things that you need to answer questions about in your business. And then you need to build a plan around. You need to build a plan, build a strategy, set some goals, all of those things that we talked about. One of the things that's going to help you in your business is actually building a real work schedule. I think a real work schedule actually kickstarts everything else. I really do believe that. I've seen it work time and time again for so many different people. Because when people are random in their e-commerce business, they're just random. I randomly source, or I randomly list stuff, or I randomly contact a wholesaler, or I randomly whatever. And so I just do it when I think about it. Like it's just, oh, this is a hobby. When they get serious about it and they get focused and they have a schedule, like even if they don't write the schedule out, they just say, you know what, on these days I'm going to do product research, on these days I'm going to create listings, on these days I'm going to whatever. That's a schedule. Whether you tie real times to it or not, you actually have built a tentative shell of a schedule. And when I see people do that and they start to see that, oh my gosh, I'm more profitable now, I'm actually making more money in my business now, I'm now blah, 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 because of the fact that they got serious about their business. So building a real schedule will actually change the dynamics of your business. It really will. People who have a real work schedule, like think about those 7 and 8 figure sellers. Like a lot of them started off with in their garage, and then now they're, they got whole teams and they've got a warehouse and they got all this other stuff going on, and they're making a lot of money. It's because they follow a schedule. They follow a schedule. They have a list of things that they focus on, and they've outsourced what you consider all the low-hanging fruit activities to someone else, outsourced it to a VA, and they are doing the things that are yielding more higher profits and more money. They're engaging in that. So do what the millionaires do. Build a schedule and follow it. Listen to Shark Tank. You're going to be more successful if you have a schedule, and you're going to be more consistent if you have a schedule. And you're going to build the habits you need to grow your business. Seriously, you will. So a real work schedule is what you really need to create, and it needs to include whatever your daily activities are going to be, your weekly activities, and you need to have some monthly activities and or goals. So maybe you do reconciliation once a week, or maybe you do it once a month. You decide when you're going to do it. Maybe you set aside, like, if you're going to do some deep research on maybe new private label products for the, for the month or for the week, then you set aside time. Establish some goals. So for me, one of my goals is I want to produce or make sure I have out there at least 5 new bundles every single week. Like new bundles, not existing, new. So I'm developing, creating new bundles every single week from a product standpoint. So that is something that would go on my weekly goals. Whatever it is your specialty. If you're doing print on demand, how many new designs are you putting up every single week? What's your goal every single day? Maybe you're doing research on 2 days and you're actually putting up, after you've vetted either the keywords, the designs, whatever it happens to be, you're putting up the listings and you're only doing that 3 days a week. So you have to decide, whatever platform, whatever your e-commerce method is, what's your strategy, what's your approach? And that includes, what's your strategy, what's your approach for when you're going to run ads and do paid ads and paid advertising. So once you build a plan or a schedule for each month, and when I talk about each month, there's something at the end that I'm going to talk about even more, but you should have something on a monthly basis. So we know in January that my strategy is always to source 3 months out, or like be thinking about e-commerce strategies 3 months out. So 3 months from now is going to be Easter. And then in February, 3 months from then, it's going to be like Cinco de Mayo and graduation. And then in March, 3 months from now, is like, from there, it's going to be like the beginning of summer. So I think about stuff 3 months out, sometimes 6 months out, just depends on what it is, so that I can begin either creating bundles for it or sourcing for it or whatever I need to do. Some things I do for whatever. So you need to have a monthly plan for whatever your strategy or approach is going to be. If you're a person that's doing private label, maybe you don't need a schedule that is more trending towards seasonal or holiday. you've got a private label products. And so maybe one of your goals is once a month, I want to come up with I want to do deep research on one new private label product that I potentially want to roll out. Do some deep research, you know, validate it against, your audience, your target audience, all that other stuff, keyword research, find manufacturers, all of that, and roll out something new. Maybe it's something you do on a quarterly basis. Maybe it's something you do every 6 months, but put together a strategy. What's your plan? What's your strategy? Also, as you get into the months in which we know sales tick up normally. Now, sales, because of the fact that more people are buying online, that trend is going to stay in place. People are going to continue to buy online because of the convenience that they found. So online sellers, if you stick with the plan and you build consistency in your life, you have a better chance of making a boatload of money long-term on the other side of this. So putting together a plan on those traditional months when sales tick up, like Q4, October, November, December, we know that they tick up. So begin the process of building a calendar on what you're going to do to prepare for that. Like how much more sourcing, if you have a current strategy of maybe, I don't know, 100 SKUs, I'm just making up some numbers, 100 SKUs a week. So instead of doing 100 SKUs a week in your regular months in in October or September, you might go to 200 SKUs a week. So 200 SKUs a week every single week in September, October, November. That starts to prepare you for potentially double sales, triple sales, whatever it happens to be. But you need to have a strategy or a plan. How much am I going to source? How much more am I going to pad to my budget? How much more do I need VAs or whatever when I know that those are months that the sales are going to tick up? So one of my time management tools that I use is I like time blocking. So we're going to talk about that in just a sec. But I use my phone. I actually, on my phone, to use the alarms on my phone. And when I have meetings with people or I have stuff that I need to work on, I literally set an alarm on my phone. And you can actually set an alarm to a day or to a date. But I have recurring alarms that go off. So I have alarms that remind me if I get really engrossed into working on my business. It reminds me, oh, you got to get up and go make sure that the boys, have taken their shower, they get ready to go to bed. I have alarms that says, okay, this is when I should be listing. I have alarms that go off that say, this is when I'm going to be doing product research. So my phone goes off and I have alarms. And that's one of the things I use is I use my phone. I use the alarms. I also use a kitchen timer. So if you listen, you hear the little kitchen timer. So I have a kitchen timer that I have. You can buy those at the Dollar Tree. And I have a kitchen timer. So I have time blocks set up so that if I'm going to sit down and focus for like 20 minutes on one thing, I can do it when the timer goes off. That means I can stop working, take a break, go do whatever I need to do, go fix food for my kids or whatever. I also use my personal Google Calendar. My Google Calendar looks ridiculous. It's multicolored and multifaceted. So I have time blocks on my Google Calendar as well. And I kind of went into that in detail in eCom Sellers Mastery, but I literally have time blocks on my calendar. And then they pop up notifications or reminders. You can set up recurring ones so that, it kind of works out to your advantage on whatever it is you're going to be doing in your business during that window. So look into using your Google Calendar. It's a free tool that you can use. Use your phone. It's a free, you've already got a phone, so just use that. Kitchen timer. I also, what I used to do when I was listing on eBay all the time is I would actually turn on a song or set a playlist on YouTube, and I would actually list to the playlist, meaning I would start it, and then whenever the song was done or whenever the series of songs were done, I would stop listing. So then that way it didn't feel like I was sitting there just listing, because it can be monotonous and boring over time. And so music, I would do upbeat music and I would list to upbeat music. One of the songs that I would list to if I wanted to list for 1 hour straight is I would go find Pharrell's song Happy from, Minions. And I would list to that song. I would start it and I would find the 1 hour version of it and I would list until 1 hour was over and then I would be done. So again, figure out different strategies so you can stay focused and stay consistent in your business, because one of your biggest income producing activities is listing. People cannot buy what they cannot find. So if it is not listed, you can't sell it. I don't care where you listing it. I don't care if you listen on Facebook Marketplace. I don't care where you're listing it. They can't find it if it's not listed. So go list it somewhere. If you have family, put a sign on the door. If you need a strategy to help you to stay focused so that you take this seriously, is you could clock in and clock out. One of the biggest things I would say is figure out your most productive time of day. Your most productive time of the day will help you to stay more focused than you would have trying to do something in your least productive time of the day. Notify your family, hey, like I just before this one, I said, hey, I'm about to have a call. So you guys got to go. But they knew that. They knew that actually a couple of days ago. So there was no surprises. So for you, if your challenge is getting things listed, or your challenge is getting product research, your challenge is getting things shipped, then sometimes you have to communicate with your family during this time and this time. When you hear the alarm go off, that means mommy or daddy is doing this one thing. Okay. That means you can't bother me. Here, go do a puzzle. So I have an activity bucket. So I'm like, in there, it's got puzzles, it's got, Legos, it's got all kinds of stuff. You can do whatever you want to in that activity bucket until the second timer goes off. So that's a way to keep your kids away from what you need to focus on. And then you can pull your kids in when you need to on the things that are going to help you in your business. Like, okay, we're getting ready to do some shipping, or we're getting ready to box up some stuff, take it to the storage, we're getting ready to do whatever. You can pull your kids in when you need to. One of the other things I used to do is I used to leave my house. Like I would leave, and I still leave. I found a place where it's a co-working space, and I would leave and go there. So I could do some of the things that were going to be the highest income producing things that I could do in my business, like things that are going to yield me higher income. So if I need to do some deep product research, or if I needed to put together some strategies or edit some like put some stuff together so I could have maybe a VA do some edits and photos, I would go away. So once a month, I go away for like 4 days. I'm gone. Howdy, 5,000. I'm out. And so then that way I can put together my strategy for the next 4 weeks. Figure out what works for you. But those are some of my hacks that I use. So when you're building time blocks, like the majority of the time that you're putting in your time block as far as your business is concerned for activities should be the things that are going to make you money or generate money. So the things that are not going to make you a bunch of money or not generate a boatload of money, you should be spending the least amount of time. Okay? That is so important. I see people sit there and go, well, I was watching training videos, and they're watching like training videos for 6 hours on YouTube and whatever other program they signed up for. That is not going to make you any money. Sitting there watching all those training videos, that is not helping you in your business at all. What is going to help you is to watch a video, pause, implement. Watch another 15, 20 minutes, pause, implement. If you do not pause and implement, you just sit there watching videos, that's like signing up for an exercise program and then watching all the videos while you're eating a bowl of popcorn. This is great. These videos are great. I feel like I'm getting skinny all over again. No, you're not doing anything. So don't do that. Don't watch videos and then expect to make a boatload of money. The other thing is, I see people all day hesitant to jump in. Well, I just need to learn this thing. Nothing will be perfect. I'm just going to tell you right now. I got to learn this thing. I got to get this thing. Well, I really wanted to know how to blah, blah, blah. No, nothing's going to be perfect. You have to fail forward. It's okay. When you launch or whatever you do, whatever you're going to do in your business, it may not be perfect. Your listing might not be perfect. You may not have all the right keywords in it. Your listing might not even be findable, but it is the consistency that will help you get better. It is like learning to ride a bicycle. When you first get on a bicycle, you're very wobbly. you can barely stay up on both wheels. But then over time, as you continue to ride the bike, you get more steady. You get your balance is better. You get faster. Just think about that. That is what happens in your business when you're more consistent in your business. You're going to stumble out of the gate. It's okay. There's going to be some things you may not do right. Some things might happen in your business. Somebody might have, there might be some fraudulent claims out there. You might get a person that tries to scam you. Anything is possible. but it is repetition over time. You will get better at it. You will be able to sense, like, okay, this one's a scam. You'll be able to sense, oh, okay, I probably should have listed it this way. You'll be able to sense, I probably should have adjusted that price, probably should have did whatever. You'll figure it out with the consistency. It is the lack of consistency where you can't see those things. All you do is you make your first mistake and be like, oh, I quit. I'm done. So that's not what we're doing here. That's not what this whole talk is about. This talk is about getting you to a place in 2021 where you are ready to rock and roll in your e-commerce business. So if your biggest time block should be listing, you need to figure that out. How many hours a week are you going to commit to your business? So if you're going to work 20 hours a week in your business, or 15 hours a week or 30 hours a week, whatever it happens to be, how many of those hours are you going to commit to listing? How many of those hours, if you have to do shipping, maybe you've outsourced shipping, maybe you're going to do FBA where you don't have to do any shipping yourself, or you're going to send it to a prep center, you're going to do wholesale, whatever it happens to be, you're doing drop shipping. So maybe you don't have to do the actual physical shipping, but you probably need to check on some shipping. Okay. And because of the crazy that we're having right now, you might also want to send your customers some emails once you do some checking on the shipping. Okay. That's one of the things I've talked about multiple times over the last 6 months in all of the eCom Mondays, like sending your customer a notification that, hey, we saw that your item has been checked in at the blah, blah, blah. Okay. They sent you a notification. You got your tracking number. I just wanted to make sure you got it. Okay. Now I see that it's in your area, so you should be delivered. It should be delivered soon. But if it doesn't, let's allow at least an additional 24 to 48 hours, just in case it's still out on the truck. Just want you to know, if you have any questions, you can contact me directly. Like, customer service goes a long way. So just telling you, all those people that are doing drop shipping, those people that are using whatever other method, you should really be sending some type of communication, especially right now, because refunds are ridiculous. Refund requests are ridiculous. You need to have some time for sourcing. You need to have time for customer service and returns, research. You need to have some time to learn. So again, the learning time should not be, I'm investing 5 hours a week on learning. That is not the case. You are going to do and learn at the same time if this is new to you. And if you're learning a new platform, you're going to do and learn at the same time. There are times when you need dedicated time to just sit down and learn, but this is not one of those times. So set some time, or allot some time for each one of these activities. If you're doing paid ads, marketing, whatever it happens to be, cross-listing your items or sharing them across multiple platforms, set some time for that as well. And then admin time, like you should be reconciling. If you don't reconcile every week, you should be at least reconciling every month. And you should be putting together your strategy for next month. What are you going to be sourcing for? What are you going to be looking for? And is it really that you're sourcing for something for next month? Or are you sourcing for something that's in the future? Like the strategy I mentioned earlier, which is one of the things I do. So after you kind of like build some time blocks on a calendar, and it can be a multicolored calendar. I would show mine, but I got to keep this thing going. Then you can build a work schedule for 1 week and test drive it. Just test drive it, see what happens. Nope, I didn't get those things done. Yes, I did get those things done, whatever it happens to be. Then once you kind of tweak it, and it can't be so rigid that you're like, oh, I can't. This is just too hard. Where your whole brain and your body shuts down, and all you want to do is sit down and binge watch, I don't know, Schitt's Creek on Netflix or Hulu. No, that is not the plan or strategy. You need to make sure that it is flexible enough to accommodate your other things that are happening in your life. Because you're not going to do e-commerce 60 hours a week. You're just not. You have other things that happen. Maybe you're working a job, so you're working this part-time on the side. This is your side hustle. Maybe you're taking care of kids. Maybe you're checking on an elderly relative or friends or whatever. Maybe you do other things. Maybe you've got other gig jobs. Maybe you deliver packages. I don't know what you do, but you have to make sure you have that level of flexibility in your schedule for real life things. You're going to have some time to decompress. You're going to have some time to sit down and eat a meal. You're going to have some time to maybe take your dog for a walk. You got to have some time in there. Your car is going to have to be repaired somewhere in your life. You're going to have to go see the dentist at some point in your life, and other things are going to happen. So, You need to have some flexibility in your schedule. What I will tell you is my time blocks, I make sure that I don't schedule doctor's appointments or dentist appointments during the times in which I'm supposed to be working in my business. If I say I'm listing every single day from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I am listing every single day from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I'm not scheduling a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment. I'm not going to go get my tires replaced. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to go pick up groceries. I'm not doing anything during that window because that is when I'm supposed to be working. And so if you think of the mindset of I'm going to clock in and clock out, that may help you to stay consistent in what your plan and strategy is. So I hope some of that was helpful. All right, so the next thing is taxes and finances. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, you guys take a picture, take a screenshot. There were 2 videos that we did. We did them on December the 22nd. I did 2 different interviews. One of them was with Lysandra Everett. We talked about taxes. And the other one was Delshawn Hayes, and we talked about finances. So what I need you to know is there's some stuff changing in 2021 when it comes to your taxes. There's a lot. I'm not going to go through all of it. Lysandra talked for about a good 45 minutes about taxes. You guys need to be prepared. You need to get your stuff together. You need to make sure that you're separating your bank, your business from your personal. Don't be commingling in 2021. Set an intention now that if you're currently commingling, that you're going to stop doing it as of today or tomorrow. You need to separate your money. The IRS is coming for entrepreneurs in 2021. Seriously. So go watch her session. You can go to bit.ly/Lysandra tax planning. You do have, it is case sensitive, so make sure you type it exactly the same way. And go back and watch that. It is on Facebook. It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. And then the one for Delshawn Hayes. Delshawn had some great strategies and tips on things you need to think about and things you need to consider for 2021 and just in general. It was a mix of personal and business. So go watch that, take some notes, and then implement some of those strategies that she talked about so that you're prepared for this. And again, I know I talked about a bunch of stuff. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. It's like, oh, I'm paralyzed. I don't know where to start. Just do one thing. Just do one thing. Every single day, it's like baby steps. I don't know if you guys remember. So I'm older, and there was a cartoon that talked about how it was claymation and Santa Claus and how he came about. And so one of the songs that I remember from when I was little was put one foot in front of the other. Okay. So we're just going to start slow and we're going to put one foot in front of the other. There's a whole song. I'm not going to sing it. But if you do that, you'll be able to slowly make progress in your business. Don't try to eat the whole elephant. Just do one thing and be intentional about that one thing for 1 week or 2 weeks. Then add one more thing to your list and be intentional about that one more thing while simultaneously doing the existing one for 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever. If you want to do things in time, I kind of break out different ways I do things. I will do things for 35 days consistently so that way it's a reinforced habit. And then that way I can add something new at the end of 35 days. So at the end of a year, I will have implemented 10 new habits. 10 new habits by just taking on one thing every 35 days. Okay. So that's one strategy. That's 10 new habits you can build in 1 year. That's an easy way to do it. You can also do mini goals. Mini goals are really easy because mini goals will allow you to be able to focus on one thing, accomplish one little small thing. So I will use an example of exercising. So instead of saying, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to walk for an hour every single day, or I'm going to walk for 45 minutes every single day. No, I'm just going to go for a walk for 5 minutes. It'll make it easy. It's something that's completely attainable so that, hey, next week, I'll walk for 10 minutes. And it just becomes something that you gradually implement. It's not overwhelming. It's a short 5-minute walk. And maybe you just commit to, I'm just going to go for a walk 5 minutes, 3 days a week. Now, is there any weight loss in that? No, but you're trying to gradually build yourself up to a habit. So now you're in the habit of going for these little walks. You can decide to extend those little walks. And now, oh my gosh, accidentally, you built a habit. So think about that because I think those are great strategies. So when you look at this list, there's like a lot of stuff here. For taxes, we talked about, okay, I have a strategy, it's a hack that I use to create an alternate email account so that I can forward whenever I buy anything, whether I'm doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, buying something from a wholesale supplier, invoicing, whatever. I forward all of those receipts and invoices directly to, and reports that I run from any platform that I'm selling on. I forward them to one email account. So an example would be I would create an account called NicoleTax@gmail.com. And so when I go to the store and do retail arbitrage, before I leave the cash register area, I literally take out my phone, take a picture, write something at the top of the receipt, what this is for, take a picture of the receipt, and then email it to NicoleTax@gmail.com. That way, if I walk out the door of the store and the receipt blows down the street, I'm still good because I got the electronic version of the receipt. That's one thing. The other thing is like when you're ordering things from wholesale suppliers, when you're doing whatever you happen to be doing, if you're have a subscription to a listing tool that you're using for multi-channel, like I use eCom Dash, then again, every time I get an invoice from them or a receipt, I literally email that and forward it to NicoleTax@gmail.com. When I go into my Gmail account, what's in there? It's all of my receipts from whether it was a grocery store or physical store receipt to an invoice that I used or that I bought some stuff. So I have an invoice even when I pay my VA. So you forward all of that to NicoleTax@gmail.com. And then at the end of the year or the end of the quarter or the end of the month, it makes it easier for your accountant to reconcile. And if you get audited by the IRS, you can just give them the login ID and password to that Gmail account, and you don't have to sequester your laptop and whatever else you had. You can just give them that. That's where all my receipts are. That's where all my bills are. That's where all my whatever. So everything that you're using to write off for taxes, everything that you're using to track, whether it's positive or negative, inventory, whatever, forward it to a Gmail account and use that. That's my hack. And I talk about that often. You have to make a decision in 2021 if you're going to go ahead and, if you're just selling based off of your social security number, your sole proprietor, whatever it happens to be, if you decide you want to incorporate, you need to establish something bigger. Maybe your sales have gone up and you need to get something bigger, then you need to have that conversation. So don't be stressed out about it. I will tell you probably the best time to have a conversation with someone in that realm is probably after April the 15th. This is going to be a very interesting year. So I encourage everybody to go back and watch that session with Lysandra so you don't mess up your tax filing. And then make sure that you're taking advantage of write-offs. Again, write-offs, if you're paying a VA, forward it to NicoleTax@gmail.com. You're buying supplies for your business. You're buying, you're tracking your mileage. So, you can write down your mileage. You got mileage logs. You can use like a tool like TaxBot that will track your mileage on your phone. And again, all of that is easy. If you got to go pick up shipments or drop stuff off at FedEx or UPS or whatever it happens to be, USPS, all of that's tax write-off. And when you buy training, if you're investing in your learning and you're buying training, that's a tax write-off. So go do research on all the tax write-offs that are available to you. Make sure you're keeping track of them in 2021. If you didn't keep track of them in 2020, do it in 2021. Do that. Finances. So you need to have a separate bank account. We talked about that. You need to have some business insurance. You should always have business insurance. You do need to build a budget. You can use Google Sheets if you want to. If you like other tools, there's a bunch of different tools out there that different people like for building their business budget, but you should have a budget. It shouldn't be willy-nilly. It shouldn't be random. It shouldn't be whatever. And then you should review your subscriptions. This is 2021. So let's go ahead and what are we subscribing to? What am I paying for every single month? And am I taking advantage of that or am I not using it? Have I wasted it? Did I already buy something that I could be watching or using instead and I don't need to buy this other extra thing? How many times at the end of a year have you bought stuff and you didn't even open it or touch it or didn't use it? Okay. So this is a great time for you to evaluate all of that stuff and make some cuts, make some adjustments. And you should be reconciling your expenses on a regular basis. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I'm going to fly through the rest of this very quickly. And let's go. So the first thing I want to say is don't procrastinate on the 5 R's. Reconciling your business, dealing with returns and refunds, getting your reimbursements, especially from Amazon or any of the other platforms, and doing removals if you're doing Amazon. Like you have to do removals, or if you have a prep center that you're working with or a fulfillment center, if you need to do removals, don't procrastinate on that. That can cost you money. That can cost you money. And this is not the year in which we're giving away money. We're trying to make money. We're not trying to give it away. Try some time blocking. It really does work. Seriously, it does. You can get a wall calendar, you get a dry erase board. You can do whatever works for you based on your style. I am going to do a time blocking class, I want to say at the end of February, beginning of March, that I'm just going to open it up so as many people as possible that want to attend that, they can. My team, my leadership will tell you, I am fanatical about time blocks. And they're like, oh, she's really good at that. So again, if you want to attend that, we'll make sure you do. We do have a summit that's coming up, so I just will mention that. So it'll be after the summit. I can't do it before the summit. But anyway, you got time blocking, just try it. And here's the deal. There's a couple different techniques and methods out there. If you try, I don't know how to say the name of it, so I'm not going to try to mess up the word. But, set time blocks and just do it in like 20 to 25-minute increments and take a break. So if you do it for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, then do it for another, whatever it happens to be, another 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. That is good for you. Go get up, walk around, go get a cup of water, go use the restroom, whatever it happens to be. But time blocking actually does work. So you can actually make progress on something, whether it is private label product research, whether it is creating listings for your print on demand business, or doing print on demand research, doing keyword research, checking on shipments. It doesn't matter. You can figure out how to do it in 25 minutes and then with a 5-minute, break. So then that way you're literally really using 30 minutes, but you know that you're really only going to be productive 20 to 25 of those 30 minutes. Because what happens? Your mind wanders. Reinvest in your profits. Don't blow it. So we're on the tail end of, 2020. There's a bunch of people that are going to have refund requests. They're going to continue refund requests into the middle of February. Just be prepared for it. It's the nature of the business. Embrace it. It's going to be painful. You're not going to like it, but it's going to happen. And this is something that happens every single year. This year it's extended, but typically it's normally the third week in January, but now we're probably into the second to third week in February. So just be prepared for it. Take advantage of, time-saving coupons, supplies, like do different things that are going to help you reduce the amount of money that you're spending. So reinvest your profits, buy clearance. There's going to be a lot of clearance. There's still a lot of clearance. There's a lot of stores that are going out of business. They're not going to survive the other, the whatever is going to happen in the next COVID-19. There's just not. There's just a lot of stores that are really handicapped right now and going to be closing. There's going to be a lot of liquidation inventory out there. We're going to be doing a liquidation class later on. And so take advantage of that. And then pay off your bills. There's people who get cards, credit cards, and they buy a bunch of inventory on their cards, and they pay it off after they get their profits. Yeah, pay them off. Don't float that. Don't pay that interest. Invest in your future. Always be sourcing. I am a person that believes everywhere you go, there's an opportunity to source. So I did a session with, I think it was Amy. And we were talking about, it was our monthly eCom meetup, which we actually have one this Saturday. So make sure you register for that. And in that, I told her, I said, whenever I go to the store and I walk past something and I see a bundle, I take a picture of it. I said, my phone, I still have pictures from last year and the year before and the year before. Because when I go into a store and I walk past something that the store has already put together, or, someone, whoever they sourced from, put together a bundle, it helps me build bundle ideas. So I have probably close to 300 or 400 pictures of bundle ideas and bundle concepts. And I use that for the following year. So I will go to the store and go take a bunch of pictures of Christmas stuff. If I don't buy the inventory, then I may take pictures of it. So that way I have bundle ideas that I can start working on when? In July, so I can sell very similar things during Christmas. So I literally use what somebody else has already put up and kind of change up the packaging, change up everything about it so that it's my own concept. But if somebody has a great idea, I'm like, okay, all right. So always be sourcing. And then if you are, piggybacking off existing listings, especially if you're going to be acquiring some liquidation stuff, There's going to be existing listings out there. Just don't tank the price. And we're talking about Amazon and also Walmart. On eBay, you have your own distinct listing, but you'll be in the same category with the rest of them. So, all right, always be learning. Don't stay stagnant in your business, but don't spend all your time. Don't spend all your time sitting up there learning. Okay? Don't. It's kind of like buying exercise tapes and then putting them in and sitting down on the couch and just watching them. They don't do you any good if you don't do anything with them. You literally have to watch and learn at the same time. That's what you should be doing. And especially if you're going to be learning a new platform, new products, put that on your schedule, put that on your timeline, put that as a goal, an accomplishment that you want to accomplish. What do you want to accomplish at the end of each month? If you want to have some software in place for listings, okay, great. If you want to have some multi-channel software in place, okay, great. So make sure that you set some goals around that. Don't miss the details when you're creating a listing. So there's different platforms have different guidelines for how the listing needs to be populated or how to optimize the listing. What makes a listing optimal on Walmart is slightly different than what it makes it on Amazon. It's slightly different than what you need for eBay. So make sure that if you're doing multi-channel, you're paying attention to that. Or if you're selling on any of the platforms, maximize the fields that they give you to put information in. People are searching for products. You want them to find your products. Make sure you are populating it with the keywords and make sure you're taking amazing pictures when you are listing things. Start now and be consistent. So even if you have been sitting on the sideline saying, I want to be perfect first, I want to make sure I have figured out blah, 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 whatever it is, I'm going to get started as soon as I learn blah, blah, blah. You have a list of excuses that you've embraced, you've held on to, you're in love with. I'm asking you to let them go. You have to divorce these excuses. Seriously. You got to go bury them in the backyard, whatever you got to do. You can make money just starting as low as $25 a month in this e-commerce game. I have a whole spreadsheet where I show you like reinvesting your inventory, reinvesting, and then how you can get to some ridiculous numbers before you know it. And it just takes consistency. So just be consistent. You can make money investing $25 every single week for 6 weeks and just see what happens at the end of that. Or $25 every single week for 90 days. See what happens. Just be consistent. Make data-driven decisions. Do not let your emotions drive what you're going to buy. I don't know why anybody would buy that. It is not for you to figure out. If that thing is selling like hotcakes, you can see the data on Keepa, or you run it through and you can see what the rank is for it on Amazon. That is not for you to ask why people are buying that thing. Your question should be, how can I get some or get more? That's the question. That is the question. Seriously. So I never poo-poo anything. I've sold a lot of interesting stuff. And if it's selling, if it's moving, I'm not running from it. So make data-driven decisions. Make sure you're doing research on your audience. If you're doing like Shopify, if you're doing paid ads, if you're doing drop shipping, make sure you're doing research on that. I always use Amazon. If you need a free research tool, I use Amazon all day long. Because what does Amazon have? Amazon Top 100. What does Amazon have? Amazon sales rank. You can go and see what is happening with that particular product and whether or not it's already moving. And if it is, and you sold a similar product, or you can go look at the bottom and say, people who have bought this product have also purchased this product, or have also viewed this product. So people are looking at those other things. They're telling you what people are looking for. Go use that data to your advantage and do what works for you. Spend time focusing and optimizing that. So I really do mean this. How much time I invest in my business is completely different than how much time you invest in your business, which is completely different than how much time my business partner invests in her business. Everybody's business is their own. That's the great thing about e-commerce. So there are some people that are making 5 figures, or people are making 6 figures, or people making 7 figures. And they have figured out what works for them in their life, in their business. Results to somebody else's, and don't compare somebody else's results to yours. Just get started, be consistent. You will get wherever you want to get if you stay consistent and you're realistic. Don't sit up here and say, I want to work 10 hours a week and I want to make $100,000 and only working 10 hours a week. That's not going to happen. E-commerce is a simple business. but there's work, real work, and it ain't at 10 hours a week. Now, if you get to a place where you start outsourcing aspects of your business, and so you can focus on the really meaty part of the business for 10 hours a week, that's fine. But you're not going to start off that way. And never turn your business over to somebody else to run it 100% and not know what's happening. I know too many people. I get called by too many people. I get too many emails. I get too many messages from people who have been taken by other people because they didn't know how long it should take to get up a listing. They didn't know how when shipping should happen. They didn't know, okay, what this wholesale supplier should be doing for them. They didn't know all this stuff because they didn't run the business first to learn it, understand the operations before they outsourced it. You have to know what needs to happen in the business before you outsource it. I'm sorry, that wasn't on this list, but I just had to say that. Scan everything. If you're doing retail arbitrage, if you're doing online arbitrage, you can scan using your phone on the screen and just use Amazon as your basis for whether or not this thing is moving or not. Because the fact of the matter is Amazon is still king. No matter how annoying they are, no matter how frustrating it gets, Amazon is still king. It just is. So since it is, you can use your phone to scan products on the screen and see whether or not it's moving. You can also find out what related products are moving. So it gives you an idea for product sourcing. Be patient. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself some grace and mercy. Make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. Okay? So just baby steps, 1 foot in front of the other. Somebody's going to sing that song. Customer service can go a long way. Customer service can cause you to get a sale or prevent you from having to issue a refund. Good customer service surprises everything. So keep that in mind that you should be doing the maximum amount that you can to provide good customer service. And you can outsource your customer service to your kids or to a VA, just so you know. Pay attention to the retailers. They're going to tell you what's selling, what's moving. So yesterday when we did eCom Mondays, I said, some of y'all didn't know, but Valentine's Day was already in Walmart at the beginning of December. They had it on the bottom shelf inside of the seasonal area. So again, stuff comes in, they got to put it somewhere. It's going to go in the section where it was going to go anyway. So they literally just put it on the bottom shelf and then filled the top shelves with all the Christmas stuff. So pay attention. When you see Valentine's Day going out, that's when you should be listing your Valentine's Day stuff. When you see Easter going out, you should be listing your Easter stuff. When you see St. Patty's Day go out, you should be listing your St. Patty's Day stuff. If you're doing seasonal. If you're not, but you're selling related products around any seasonal holidays, again, take a cue from the stores. They tell you all day long. I predict that the floaties are going to show up in, well, we're in Texas, so the floaties are probably going to show up in February. I'm just being, like the floaties, like when you get in the pool, and so they'll have the big Texas Longhorn, red, white, and blue inner tube things, and they'll be in the stores in February. Trust me. And winter is going on clearance probably at the end of January or the middle of February because they're going to start putting spring stuff out. They got to make room. So the last thing I want to say is just prepare for year-round success. You can consistently make money all year round. Like right now, you know, there's a bunch of people turning stuff over to the thrift stores. So there's some great sourcing over there. There's a bunch of liquidations, unfortunately, stores that didn't survive the end of year. And so they are closing permanently. And so that inventory has to be liquidated. You know, we're going to see what happens with JCPenney's because they were bought out, but there's some talk about splitting off several pieces of that, you know, and so we'll see what happens. But there's an opportunity for you to get some really amazing inventory at an extremely discounted price. So pay attention to that. Holidays, you know, I'm that person. I am the seasonal, trendy, hot, popular, and holiday. I am that person. So holidays I pay attention to. Sports, it's kind of hard right now to pay attention to sports, only because of the fact that we're not all able to go places. But when we're able to go places, sports can be a lot of making you a lot of money. The one thing that is happening with sports is people are still having sports parties, having watch parties. So they're not supposed to, but they are. So I just want you to know that, you know, there's stuff that you can sell in bundles, because I've done it all day long, for upcoming games, like, you know, the Super Bowl. So pay attention to those things. There's regional stuff. So spring break is going to be a big one. Mardi Gras coming up in February, graduations in May. So again, graduations are still going to happen, regardless of whether or not there's a bunch of people that are able to congregate together. It's still going to happen. People are still going to go on spring break. So be thinking about those things that you can sell. Also, the month of the week. So, there's like Black History Month, there's Autism Awareness Month, there's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's all of these different month things. Pay attention to those. So I know that next month is Black History Month, February. Pay attention to that. Autism Awareness Month, all of the months and when they are happening. The seasons. So when it is winter, you should be sourcing for the spring. When it's spring, you should be sourcing for the summer, or you should be listing for the summer. When it's summer, you should be listing for the fall. When it's fall, you should be listing for the winter. That has always been the rule that I follow. I still follow it. I still make money because I follow that rule. Movies, I think we're going to see a big influx of stuff that's going to happen with the movies next year. There will be some movies that come out this year, but I think it's really, hopefully after either people get vaccinated or we get to herd immunity or whatever, that there is going to be a bunch of movies that are going to be releasing in 2022. The question becomes, how many of the movie theaters are going to survive? That becomes the question, because a lot of stuff is going on to streaming. So then, but the one thing that movies have always yielded me, oh my gosh, time and time again, and also the Saturday morning kitty shows, or not just Saturday morning, but just the kitty shows, is bundles. I make so much money whenever a movie comes out. Like, it's ridiculous how much money you can make with bundles for that particular theme, movie, whatever it happens to be. Award shows, that historically I've done that, so it's probably more of a 2022 thing, and also movements in the news. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the news. There's going to continue to be a lot of stuff that happens in the news. There's a bunch of passionate people about a bunch of passionate topics. And so there is money opportunity. A lot of print on demand people are making a boatload of money off of movements in the news. So continue to pay attention. If you're a person that wants to get into the print on demand space, pay attention to movements in the news, because that is going to be an opportunity to make a bunch of money really fast. Because print on demand doesn't require you to have, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on inventory up front. So with all that being said, I did have one more slide. So some ways in which you can scale your business. Private label, white label, always great opportunities to scale your business, especially in 2021. So if you want to incorporate that, put that on a schedule, put that on a plan, make a decision and be intentional on when you want to try and jump into the private label game. I do recommend, there's a couple of people that do private label, I think, really well. Amy Weiss, I really love some of the stuff that she does because I'm a former project manager. She's a former project manager, so we think alike. Becky Timms, she does some great stuff as well. Dropship wholesale products, that's another great opportunity. You can also dropship, a lot of people use AliExpress and Alibaba, but there's a whole list of wholesale suppliers, and we give away wholesale supplier lists inside of eCom Sellers Academy. Print on demand, I just mentioned some great opportunities for print on demand. Movements are not going to go away. And so, think about, all these elections, red, white, and blue has been selling like crazy. I can tell you, like, was it 4 years ago, like when Trump was being elected the first time, when Trump was being elected, like I sold a boatload of lapel pins. Like I would buy them from the wholesale supplier and just sell them. And they just like crazy on Amazon. Like I couldn't keep them in stock, like 200, 300 a month. It was just ridiculous. It was insane. I loved it. But again, red, white, and blue, an opportunity people overlook and they don't pay attention to that. We're going to be coming up on like the Olympics is being not necessarily reinstated, but it was delayed because of COVID. Like a bunch of stuff was delayed. So just know that there's going to be a bunch of passionate people about whatever it was that got delayed that's coming back. There's some money opportunities there. Automate your business and outsource. There's so many outsourcing opportunities, and there's so many opportunities for you to send stuff to a prep center, send it to a fulfillment center. So all you have to do is just order inventory and send it to a prep center and monitor what they do. So lots of opportunity, lots of ways in which you can make money, simplify your life, and continue to have income or replace your income. Or if you are without a job, have some income. Okay. Remember, there's all the platforms too. There's Mercari, Poshmark, OfferUp and 5 Mile. They combined, or was it Let Go and OfferUp combined? I forget which two combined, but anyway, there's so many different ways in which to make money. So don't overlook those opportunities. With that being said, I hope this was a blessing to you and your business. eCom Sellers Academy is open. If you want to join eCom Sellers Academy, you're more than welcome to join eCom Sellers Academy. Right now, we have a one-time special that ends tonight. You can pay for a lifetime membership. It's $189.99, and it's lifetime access. And we do weekly trainings. We give away every other week an ASIN list of products for auto ungating. We give away a wholesale list every other week, and we give a retail arbitrage list of 10 products every week. So you get free coaching, which is a bunch of stuff. It's $17.99 a month, or you can pay the one-time fee of $189.99. That price will be going up in 2021. It will never be $189.99 ever again. So just saying that. So I hope this was a blessing. I see comments and questions. Let's just see what you guys got to say. Was this helpful? Sign up for Walmart Marketplace. I did, but let you go with it, please. Shopify, eBay Mastery, still available on sale. Yeah, you can grab the Shopify, or you can grab the eBay Mastery, either one. We're going to redo eBay Mastery, and we're going to redo the Shopify. So if you go to www.ecomsellersmastery.com and you actually put in the promo code, I'm going to mess this up, aren't I? I think it's like 50 off ESM. You have to put that in. You can get it 50% off. You can also join the eCom Sellers Academy and just pay the one-time fee and just be done with it. And then everything, the enhancements that we're making in eCom Sellers Academy, you'll be able to implement that. I like to start with Shopify and eBay this year and build and grow. That's good. High five, girlfriend. Let's do the Shopify thing. That one, Shopify is trying to come for Amazon. So I think that they're going to be offering a lot of different, Shopify is going to be a great opportunity, especially if you got a private label product, or even if you're doing print on demand. So yeah. So one of the takeaways is to learn and then do and not wait until it's perfect. That's right, girlfriend. Do not wait. I'm just telling you right now. People who sit on the sidelines and be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna wait till it's perfect. Then I'm going to launch it." No, it will never be perfect. Get it where you need to get it. So I just liken it to your relationship with God. Like your relationship with God is a journey. This whole process is a journey. It's a journey. It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have that perfect relationship with the Lord. It's just, you're just going to always be a perpetual state of working on it. So just get started. Just get started. So with that being said, are there any questions? I will take a couple of questions before I have to go and snatch up my kids. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat. All right. Well, I hope this is a blessing to you and your business. I really want you guys to go back and rewatch it. Answer the questions about your business. Start putting some stuff in place so that you can be extremely productive in your business, extremely successful. Make 2021 your year to turn it around, or to at least get started, or to take your business to the next level. So I hope this is a blessing to you. I'll see you guys later. Bye.